Now, fellas, like I've been doing all week, I've been putting to our experts, if they could choose one stock that would change their life or could change your life over the next 5 years, what would it be? Now, I've been very open about this. I stole this idea from Henry Jennings from Marcus today because he was on the panel last week and Archer Materials, that's right, came up as one of our stocks to review. Archer Materials is a quantum computing company. And Henry was telling us that they did a bit of a competition within the Marcus Today crew where they each had to choose a stock that they reckon could change your life. And his was Archer Materials. And I thought, that's a really interesting idea to make people think. A stock that could change your life financially over the next 5 years. So I thought, I'll steal the idea. I did say to him, oh, that's a great idea, I'll steal it and put to our expert panels over the next 2 weeks. So, Michael, what have you come up with? A stock that could change your life. Now, obviously, many of them are at the higher risk end of the scale, but, that's the beauty of it. Michael, what do you reckon?
Look, it's a bit controversial, this one, because often when you put on a pedestal your number one pick, that pick probably does the worst out of all your picks. So, but in the spirit of this, the company that we're looking at for the one that's going to change your life is Alcidion Group. And I've got to give Andrew credit here. We're probably on the call over a year ago now, and this one came up. And we had clients in it over the last 6-12 months or so, and it's been an incredible performer, but we do think they're doing some good things. Basically, it's a bit of a hybrid between a healthcare company and a tech company. Provides some software or a platform which allows hospitals around the world, mainly in the UK, New Zealand and Australia, to do things like monitor patient data a bit better. It helps also with things like bed rotation. It allows the staff at these different clinics and hospitals to better communicate with each other. So it's basically modernising the old clipboard at the end of the bed, which improves hospital efficiencies and patient outcomes. They're doing a lot of good work at the moment in terms of winning new contracts. Because the business is still quite small, every new contract has a fairly material outcome on the business and the business valuation. So that's the business that we think that can potentially change your life, maybe not in the next 1 or 2 years, but if you keep holding it and then they keep delivering over 3, 4, 5 years, it could be a lot higher than where it is today. But typically we focus, ASX 300, it might take a bit of time, but if we can identify CSLs early on and Commonwealth Banks, 20, 25 years ago, these stocks over time can certainly change your life. But Alcidion's a bit of a higher risk, smaller play, but one that we think has some legs.
Yeah, nice one. All right. Andrew, what have you chosen? The stock that could change your life.
Yeah, I just quickly got to say, it is a great theme, although this is a game that you have to go to the risky end of the spectrum because, you just have to. And by nature, as we've often talked about on the show, it's an area where maybe you only get 3 or 4 out of 10 right, if that. However, that's kind of all you need because these are the companies that when they go well, they go extremely well. And Alcidion, I mean, we picked it a couple of years ago, actually, before it was 13 cents or something at the time. But that's not, well, it's a little bit to do a victory lap. But the point that I would make on that is it went from 13 to 20 back to 10. And that's what these companies do. Yeah. And clearly, they do that even when they're successful. So you need to keep that in mind, that you are going to be in for a lumpy ride, even when the underlying business succeeds. So just to stay with Michael's theme here, we're going to stay in the med tech space with a company that's called Austco. This is AHC. It was formerly known as Azure. And I've got to give credit here to Luke Winchester, who actually popped this on the Strawman platform just recently, and it prompted me to have a look. I mean, when Luke says something's worth a closer look, I definitely pay attention. He's delivered from
Oracle, Oracle Investment Management in Newcastle.
A great investor. Look, on Strawman, his profile's up 66% per annum over the last 3 years. So, he knows what he's talking about. And so it prompted me to have a look. And I liked what I saw. So these guys do nurse call systems for hospitals, for aged care homes. That chart looks as though something's a bit funny. It is an illiquid company, but perhaps not that illiquid. Anyway,
Right.
so yeah, think of the button next to your hospital bed, although these days it's a lot more advanced than that. And this company's been undergoing a bit of a transition, focusing more on the higher margin software part of their business, moving away from the lower margin hardware. They've now fully outsourced their manufacturing, so it's a much more efficient operations. They've actually been winning lots of sales, but the business took a bit of a knock during COVID because they couldn't get into nursing homes. They couldn't get into hospitals to implement the technology that they'd already sold. So they've actually got this big pipeline that they've got to install. And importantly, they've got this massive order book that they've been building out recently as well. So, hey, this is a profitable company. They make about $3 million in profit, no debt, $6 million in cash. High inside ownership, pretty thinly traded. Just the other day, they came out and said that they'd won a big contract with one of the major hospitals in Singapore. And Singapore, for those that don't know, is probably one of the top three leading healthcare systems in the world. That's basically where the rich and famous in the region go when they need good healthcare.
Right.
So
crazy
this is
rich Asian families.
Seriously, I mean, you're gonna go to where the best healthcare is, and so these kinds of networks don't make decisions lightly. So I think they've got a lot of potential here if they can start implementing these solutions, continuing to win. There's a lot of upside.
All right, two great stocks so far this week. We've had Audinate and IGO, Editas, an American listed genome sequencing business from Mark Morland. Julia Lee has had the Hydrogen Group, Hazer, and we'll add Austco and Alcidion today. And I thought we'd check in on them every 6 months over the next couple of years, or just see as a group how they're going.